welcome back to another episode. I'm so excited you're here. My name is Emma. I'm a mindset coach for mums, and I help mums have smoother, better postpartum experiences by preparing themselves for this experience, because there is so much about baby, not enough about us, and we deserve to feel good through it for ourselves, and also just makes the whole baby experience so much better, and one that you actually end up really cherishing and loving. I'm so excited you are here for this episode, because today I'm going to be talking about what my first postpartum experience was like as a first time mum, and what I planned for in my pregnancy, how I wanted it to go, and I'm going to break it down for you in a few key little time periods, because for me they're like little chapters in my new mum journey, and I think we need to prepare for them differently, or at least I did, and I'm really glad that I did, because I think it helped me to have a smoother postpartum experience overall. Okay, so when I was pregnant, and tell me if you relate to this, I just loved being immersed in it. It's like pregnancy, I just loved it. I loved learning about everything new that was happening in my body. I loved like looking at all the apps, be like, what vegetable is my baby this week? I loved just like even like the nerdy like what to expect textbooks. I even like read those, and I wish I would have known about birth podcasts, because I would have loved that. But I loved learning about birth and all that stuff. It was so fun. And so it was only natural that I would also be like learning about postpartum and what to expect. And a lot of it I already knew from my job in public health and working with the reproductive and child health team. But a lot of it was new, and I was learning it as a mum, not as a researcher, you know? So it just brought this whole new level of excitement. And what I wanted it to look like, what felt really good for me was, well, first of all, I decided on a hospital birth, and specifically a water birth with my midwives there, with my husband present. That was the type of birth experience that I wanted. I'm not going to get into it in this episode, because I have other episodes about my birth story and how I prepared for birth, all that stuff. But I wanted it to start off, just me and my husband in the hospital room. And I didn't know if I wanted our family to come. I was leaning towards not, because I really just wanted this time to be about skin to skin, and like doing that as much as possible. I know that that is so good for, you know, so many things, like regulating your baby's like heartbeat and body temperature and all that stuff, and also your own, and like that bonding and connection that can happen where you're co-regulating. I knew skin to skin was really helpful for establishing breastfeeding. That's something I wanted to do. So I just pictured, this time after birth, you're obviously like so vulnerable, right? Like you've just given birth. So I didn't know kind of like what physical condition I was gonna be in, and I knew I just wanted to do a lot of skin to skin, and I didn't like want to have to like cover up and for like visitors to be like coming in, and I just wanted, you know, that time to be the priority, and like just some moments of like me and my husband and our new baby before we brought him home. So that's what I wanted for that. So, you know, we talked to our parents in advance, and like our siblings and stuff, and just shared like, okay, like it's probably just gonna be us in the hospital, like we'll let you know if anything changes, but when our baby comes home, within the first, you know, day or two, like we would love if you could come for a quick little visit. And that felt like really good and supportive to us, because again, I just like wanted it to be that little bubble, and it just sounded just like so lovely and so peaceful, and like what a beautiful, slow, calm start for our baby as well. So that's kind of what we did, you know, we kind of set the expectations up in advance and just had conversations and just said, you know, this is probably what we're going to want, this is probably what's going to be supportive to us. And for me, it just felt good to, you know, have visitors, like have our favorite closest people come and meet our baby, and get to you know, sharing that excitement with them and see them be excited. But I also knew it like didn't feel, it felt like too much if I were to have been like, come for the day, or like come and, you know, to one of our parents, like come and move in for 2 weeks. Like that didn't feel like what like I wanted for our first start. I wanted us to like figure things out on our own, but also allow and support in other ways. So, and like have them meet the baby, but do it in a way that was like a lovely visit, and then it was back to our like little new family of 3. So yeah, that's like what I envisioned the first few days kind of looking like. It was like, yeah, visits from our parents, visits from our siblings, and just like a lot of time just with us, just to settle in. And like some of my favorite memories from those days include like both of those things. You know, I remember my brothers coming over and just like getting to snuggle my baby, and it was unexpected actually, but when we got back from the hospital, we actually went against our own plans that I just told you about. I'm like, this is what we were envisioning, but what actually ended up happening is I had my first son, I think it was 2 in the either 2 in the morning or 4 in the morning. For some reason I'm blanking, it's in my other video, it doesn't actually matter. But basically, we got home at around 7:30 in the morning. Oh, I had him at 4 or 7 a.m. And we got home at 7:30, and it actually just felt so supportive for us to invite our parents over for like a surprise living room party, where you essentially like gave Max to them, be like, snuggle this baby, we're gonna go upstairs for a nap, like we'll be back. So that's what we did, because we were obviously just like up the full night, and then it was like so precious for them, and also for me it was like a little surprise for all of us. But that's like kind of how we started it out, and then the following days very much were more according to like how I pictured it, where I'm like, okay, like now it's good, like now we're us. And then as I'm saying it, I'm like, wait, my mum did stay over one of the nights because my son was like so sleepy, and I needed to like wake him up every 2 hours to breastfeed, and he was like really challenging to feed at the very beginning because he was so sleepy, which I've heard is very common for new babies. But yeah, I wanted to help for that night, and then after that I'm like, okay, like I want to do this like on my own. So it was interesting because we planned for a certain way, but in the moment I slowed down to see like what felt good now, and then asked for extra support as needed. And I found that actually, I think it worked really well, because everyone was kind of on the same page before the baby was born. You know, we were like, we'll probably want you guys to come and like come for a visit, come meet the baby. We'll do like short visits at the beginning. You know, again, I was planning on breastfeeding at least every 2 hours, and I know babies can sometimes eat more regularly at the beginning. So I just wanted a lot of space for that, and not have to like, and I obviously I'd be physically vulnerable after birth too and healing. So I didn't want like long visits with people. Like I was up all night for the first time. Like that's not what would be supportive. But yeah, we had those conversations up front, and then kind of pivoted as we went. And that felt like so good and so supportive from our family. And what we did is also we asked them, like if anyone was like, hey, can I like do anything for you? Is there any way I can like help? We asked, people were like, yes, please, like bring us something healthy, bring us like, or a delicious meal or whatever. Obviously the people we're closest to, but we like took them up on that, and that was like another way that we could receive support from our loved ones, as well as like little baby visits. But I'm a foodie, so food was a good one. Okay, what else? So yeah, this was really helpful, that I'm so glad I did. So in pregnancy, I was just like thinking about what the first couple of weeks were gonna look like, and I was like, I want to do like 0 household chores, and I want to make no meals. Like I don't want to be doing anything other than taking care of my baby and like bonding with my baby and taking care of myself after giving birth. And so I like made all of these freezer meals. Some of them were good, some of them were, you know, like mediocre, but like whatever. They were pre-made, and then that kind of switched up, just like from getting takeout or like restaurant meals kind of thing. And having like veggie trays on the go and fruit trays was so good too, just like little snacks that I could eat with one hand. Glad I did that. But yeah, I wanted to do no chores, and that was obviously like very different. And my husband was so supportive. He you know, especially in those like first few weeks, he was like so pivotal in so many ways, because we ended up having breastfeeding challenges that we needed to work through. And so he would like literally like feed me as I was like feeding the baby, and make sure like my water bottle was refilled, and make sure I'd like remember to take like Advil or Tylenol or whatever. Like he was always like just pouring into and like taking care of me, so then I could take the best care of our baby. And obviously he was doing other things too, like changing diapers, but he also did like all the meals that I hadn't pre-made, all the dishes, probably the laundry, like he did the cleaning, like he did everything else. And he took those first 2 weeks off work. So yeah, that was just a good start with the three of us. So yeah, like I said, we ended up having breastfeeding challenges, and so that was a whole thing for a while. I remember having to deciding to pause having visitors for a little bit so we could just hunker down and figure those challenges out. And I got a lot of lactation consultant support. I've said it a bajillion times, but I highly recommend having a lactation consultant lined up, a really good one. They're not all made equal. Get a really good one, because they can see like the finish line, or they can see the next few steps and give you like before you can, which means you're more likely going to meet your goals than probably if you try and do it on your own. But one of the things that I did on my own that did really help me, in addition to that support, was I just hunkered down with my baby for a couple of days, and I was just like, no visitors, please. Like, we're gonna see if we can make some progress here. And that is exactly what we did. And those few days helped so much, as well as like a baby chiropractor. But anyway, those things were things I didn't really foresee. I knew breastfeeding challenges are very common, and for the most part, very figure outable. And our babies, sometimes if they don't have a strong latch at first, and I learned so much through this process, they can like get stronger latches as they go on and all of that. So anyway, we worked through that, but we did have to shift like what our days and stuff looked like for a bit until we had to figure that out, because at the beginning, like, a lot of your focus is going into your baby eating and gaining back their birth weight and all that stuff. So for us, that was like a really big focus at the beginning, and it was definitely worth the effort. For us, we ended up, here exclusively, we supplemented with formula a little bit. I should do a full episode on this whole breastfeeding experience, to be honest, because I know so many women do struggle and want and have the goal of breastfeeding, and I want this to give them hope. But yeah, we very temporarily supplemented, but then switched back to breastfeeding, and ultimately ended up, he was exclusively then, after that, breastfed for 6 months, and then I went on for 18 more months, like 18 months total. So a happy ending for that story in terms of like how I wanted it to look. But yeah, we definitely needed to pivot a bit in the early days, and I think that flexibility and just allowing support and saying yes to the right supports, and like switching the things that didn't feel like, a bunch of visitors wouldn't have felt supportive in those days, like I wouldn't have been able to focus and like do what I wanted. So yeah, a lot of it really is, and what I've learned in hindsight is like trusting your intuition on the go. Like, yes, plan for things and have a vision for things and have goals for things, but also I found it so helpful to have like flexibility in that and to listen and trust myself deeper as I went. And that is a huge skill that I learned, was how to listen to myself and trust myself deeper through all those little micro moments, of being a new mum. And I think we all go through that because we're all having different things to learn about our babies and figure things out. And we should trust ourselves. So yeah, that was the first few weeks. And then once those things got figured out and we totally just got more in our groove, and things just got easier and easier and easier and better and better and better and smoother and smoother and smoother. And you know, it was like probably weeks after I thought, but we'd like go out for the stroller walks around our neighborhood that I pictured. That was something I was so excited for in my pregnancies, was just going for walks. It was like those simple things, you know, having coffee in the morning, waking up and like a really cute baby, like being there and just like cuddling them in the middle of the night when everyone's asleep, and it's just like you holding like your beautiful, amazing baby. And yeah, how we take care of ourselves through it is also incredibly important, because like for a bit I did experience the baby blues. I was on the lookout for my mental health because I was so exhausted and so like stressed and so drained from waking up every couple of hours and triple feeding at one point. And I remember being on like alert for my mental health. I knew the symptoms to look out for, which I think is important for all of us. Look up like even like Edinburgh depression scale, I think that's what it's called. Forgetting the acronym, but look up the common symptoms of postpartum depression, because I think it's just helpful for us to all be aware of. But I remember sometimes even like intrusive thoughts coming in, which is also really common. But I also just had so much self-awareness and also so much support who were also looking out for me, that were like, okay, like that, this is just something we are keeping tabs on as we go. We'll adjust any plans or extra support or whatever, or change feeding plans or whatever as we go if needed. So it's very much keeping like my health and also my goals for myself and my baby in mind at the same time, and like pulling all like that delicate dance, you know. But having a pulse on myself, I think, was really valuable in the early days. And ultimately, I just intuitively knew, I'm like, no, once we figure out these feeding challenges, my mental health is going to get significantly better. And in the meantime, it's going to be something I watch. It's going to be something I pay attention to. And yeah, ultimately, step by step, figured things out. I was right. Mental health significantly improved. And something I'm so proud of myself in these early days is, even through the harder parts, every single day for like many moments of the day, I would just take a moment and pause and just like look at my baby and just feel so grateful for them. And I would just like notice the little details about them, and I would just like soak in the fleetingness of it. And I think that's something that I want to share, because I think sometimes we think we have like, to be a present mom, you have to be like perfectly like mentally with it, which isn't always doable in like the throes of the newborn stage. That you can't be present if something stressful is going on, if you're dealing with breastfeeding challenges, or if you're experiencing the baby blues, that like it pulls you out of it. And it does to an extent, but our self-awareness, so well, this is what helped me, just like pulled me back into the present moment every single step of the way. And yeah, things got easier and better as my mental health improved and the baby blues leveled out, and as like our feeding challenges got figured out. But I always like appreciated and soaked it in every step of the way. And that's where I'm like, being a mom, you just hold so much, and it's like we can hold multiple feelings at once and multiple perspectives at once. And I was just like, no, I was soaking it in and soaking my baby in and appreciating him and appreciating us as we went through all of it. And I'm proud of that. I really am. So yeah, that was like the first few weeks, which is quite fairly typical experience. Some of us have like smoother goes, some of us have more challenging goes, but that's what it looked like for us. And yeah, it was like a really special, vulnerable, supported, incredible, like wild kind of time. And then, okay, where do I want to take us next? I want to take us beyond that, because postpartum obviously is more than just a few weeks. It's like, I want to take us a little bit more into some of the highlights and the things that I really loved in my baby's first year, and the things I'd kind of planned in pregnancy, that I'm so happy I planned in pregnancy. All right. So again, for me, the things I was like mostly looking forward to were those smaller moments, was like playing on the living room floor, just like having a whole year off work where I would just focus on myself and my baby. I was so excited to do that. Like, I had gone from like high school to undergrad at 17 to my master's to my PhD to starting working full-time while I was in my PhD and getting married, and it was like so much at once. And then securing my research position that was my dream job at the time, and being settled in that. And then I'm just like, oh my gosh, a year off to focus with my baby and be with my baby and like learn and just experience motherhood. Like, that was incredible to me. Like, that, I'm like, this is my dream. This is where I'm meant to be. And I was so excited for that. And honestly, I was excited just for the slow days. I was excited for waking up at our own pace and to be able to have naps if we had a lot of night wake ups, and just to have like no low commitments on the calendar. Like, I knew, you know, once maybe around, like, I was thinking like the 3-month-ish mark, I was like, okay, I'll probably want to do like a workout class. And I did. I started a baby and mum workout class where all the babies were like on the floor chilling, and then as they got older, crawling and then playing, and the mums, we were all like working out, and it was like a small intimate group. So good. If you're in the Kingston, Ontario area, Strong as a Mother by Vanessa Cooper, that's the program I did. So good. I did a weekly, this was so cute, a weekly aquafit swim class, where we like had our babies in the pool. I think I started that around 5 months though. But the water is so warm, and that was just like a fun thing. I did it with a friend. And then just other things like, you know, call up my other friend who had a baby around the same age, and we'd go for walks. And then just like quiet times at home, like with my husband, and where we would just like look at how cute our baby was, or like gush and like stare and like be in awe at like the simplest little movement, or they could literally be sleeping, and I was just like, oh my god. Those are the things I was excited for, you know. One of my favorite memories is just like coming home from the hospital and then looking across the hallway and seeing my husband change our baby's diaper for the very first time. And I just remember being like in an adult diaper, like leaned over the bed, being like, this is amazing. Like, not glamorous, but just like the most amazing moment, you know. I was excited for those. But I also wanted to just like have new adventures as a family. Something I always just didn't quite resonate with was that you can't like travel anymore after you have a kid. I was just like, that's luckily not how I grew up. My first trip was from Wales, where I was born, to Canada, which is where my mum's family is from, which is where I now live, which is why my accent's half and half. But I used to travel to Canada as a baby and as a child, and was always traveling. So I always wanted that for my family as well. And so 3.5 months postpartum, we knew this in pregnancy that we were going to do this. We went to Wales, and I got to, you know, show off my brand new baby to my aunt, who I'm super close with, and my cousins and my best friends there. My best friend there had just gotten married in Cyprus, and I couldn't go to the wedding because I was like literally like right after postpartum. But she had a huge celebration in Wales at the pub where she grew up. Her parents ran it. Context. I used to go there for sleepovers. It was very fun. Just order from the menu, pub meals. But yeah, she got married and had a big celebration, and we got to like go there, and I like dressed up my son in a little tux, and that was such a funny trip because the airline lost our bags. So we have a 3-month-old baby. We have no luggage. But we had a credit card with really good insurance, and we went shopping, and I got a beautiful Ted Baker skirt and top, and I'm like, I like this more than my original wedding outfit. So my husband got all new clothes. We got a cute little outfit with like a little suspenders for my baby and like a little bow tie, and yeah, it was so fun. We got him like little earmuffs, so that, what are they called? You know, earmuffs? The noise headphones, like the noise cancelling headphones. There we go. Got there in the end. For the wedding, and yeah, it was just so fun. And if you're like, yeah, I want to travel with my baby, I highly recommend actually between 3 and 6 months old. It's like an amazing age to travel because chances are you figured out all the feeding stuff by then, if you did have any. Hopefully you have a smoother go than me. But also, they're not crawling yet. They still sleep on you. They're not on like any kind of strict schedule. Their body clocks are still figuring things out, so they will literally just like sleep on you, and they're just more on the go. So we went to Wales, and then we actually stayed for an extra, I feel like, few days. We went to Scotland, and we rented a car, and we did this Scottish road trip. So we went to Loch Ness, and Max still has like a little Loch Ness stuffy that we got him at 3 months old. We're like, should we buy him this? He's not even gonna remember this trip. We're like, let's buy it. So we got him that and a book. And yeah, it was just such a fun time. But yeah, they're not eating yet. They're just eating milk. Like, it's just such a good travel age. So yeah, that was like a highlight for us for the first year as well. And then when he was just before a year old, we also went to Florida with friends and their kids. So just lots of cool little memories there too, in the pool, in the sunshine. And yeah, that is what our first year together looked like. And yeah, it was so beautiful because I really did get to be there for like the first smile, and we just got to establish such a strong little bond, he and I loved the spaciousness of having a year off with him. So yeah, that is what ours look like. If you have any specific questions, let me know in the comments, or you can always message me at mylighterway on Instagram. I'm gonna do a second episode as well about what our second postpartum looked like, because obviously things are different with 2, and how I prepared slightly differently for that. If you're a first time mom, you might want to listen to that because there's extra things that I layered in that I hadn't even thought of the first time. So you can like take the bits that are going to help you this time, because some of the things I'm like, oh, this would have probably helped me to know the first time around. But that is it. I would love to hear, what are you planning for your postpartum? What do you want it to look like? Yeah, send me a message, send me a voice note. Love a voice note. And hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will see you in the next one.